Trudeau threatening Trump, the outgoing Canadian Prime Minister warning President Trump of immediate retaliation.
Elon Musk knows that Pierre Poilievre is his guy in Canada.
Tesla taking the biggest hit, down 6%. That's not the only.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has issued a strong warning to former U.S. President Donald Trump, vowing immediate retaliation against recent trade measures. Meanwhile, Tesla has faced significant setbacks, with its stock dropping by 6%. Many speculate that Tesla CEO Elon Musk sees Pierre Poilievre as a favorable political figure in Canada, potentially influencing the company's future in the country. However, a major development has emerged in Canada's electric vehicle industry, one that could reshape the market and even affect Tesla's standing. The introduction of the first fully functional Canadian-made EV marks a turning point, posing potential challenges for U.S. automakers and reshaping trade relations between the two nations. In early 2025, Donald Trump, once again in office, implemented a series of aggressive tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. These included a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican goods and a 10% tariff on Canadian oil and energy products. Trump justified these actions by citing concerns over drug trafficking and the need to safeguard American economic interests. The tariffs immediately sparked backlash, leading to significant economic repercussions across North America. The Canadian government swiftly responded by forming alliances with trade experts, including Kenneth Smith Ramos from Mexico and former U.S. Congressman Kevin Brady, to push for North American free trade. This coalition aims to counteract the economic instability caused by the ongoing trade war. Business leaders and politicians have joined forces to mitigate the impact of these tariffs, which are projected to cost American consumers between $120 billion and $225 billion annually, exacerbating inflation and slowing economic growth. Financial markets reacted negatively, with major U.S. stock indices experiencing sharp declines. Despite these tensions, negotiations continued, with the Trump administration offering a one-month exemption on new tariffs for U.S. automakers importing vehicles from Canada and Mexico. This brief reprieve allowed automakers to reassess their strategies, highlighting the deep economic entanglement between North American trade partners. Canadian businesses have been actively working to reduce reliance on the U.S. market by diversifying exports. The Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers has advocated for redirecting oil exports to other markets to mitigate risks associated with dependence on a single trading partner. Additionally, Canada's largest pension fund has emphasized the importance of economic diversification and reduced reliance on U.S. investments. To encourage domestic investment, the Canadian government has extended mineral exploration tax credits for 2 more years, aiming to strengthen the mining sector and decrease reliance on international, particularly Chinese, investments. These efforts underscore a broader policy shift towards self-sufficiency and economic resilience in response to shifting global trade dynamics. In a bold move, Canada's New Democratic Party NDP leader Jagmeet Singh proposed a set of measures directly targeting Tesla as part of his broader economic strategy. Singh announced a plan to reinstate and expand electric vehicle incentives for Canadian-made cars, pledging to restore the previous $5,000 federal rebate and double it to $10,000 for domestically manufactured EVs. This initiative aims to support local auto workers and shield them from economic uncertainty caused by trade tensions with the U.S. Singh also declared that an NDP government would impose a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles, citing the company's close ties to Trump's administration. This move is intended to counteract economic threats posed by American tariffs and prioritize Canadian workers over multinational corporations. Singh criticized Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and Liberal leadership hopeful Mark Carney, arguing that their policies favor billionaires like Elon Musk while neglecting the needs of Canadian workers. He framed his proposal as a means to secure local jobs and bolster Canada's industrial base in the face of external economic pressures. Central to Singh's economic vision is a policy promoting domestic manufacturing and employment. His plan includes barring U.S. companies from federal procurement contracts if American tariffs remain in place, prioritizing unionized workforces in government projects, and enforcing stricter Canadian content requirements for publicly funded initiatives. Singh emphasized that these measures would protect existing jobs and create new opportunities in key sectors such as manufacturing and infrastructure. He also stressed the importance of using Canadian-made materials, including steel, for government-funded construction projects. These proposals have emerged amid growing concerns among Canadian auto workers about potential job losses due to U.S. trade policies. Trump has threatened to impose tariffs on all Canadian goods, prompting the NDP to prepare countermeasures specifically targeting Tesla. Singh positioned these actions not just as a form of retaliation, but as a broader effort to protect Canadian labor rights and economic independence. By encouraging consumers to choose domestically produced vehicles, Singh aims to ensure that economic benefits remain within Canada rather than flowing to foreign companies. Tesla, facing mounting challenges in Canada, recently announced substantial price hikes across its vehicle lineup. Effective February 1, 2025, prices for Tesla models have increased significantly, with the Model 3 Performance experiencing the steepest rise, jumping to $99,000. Other models, including the Model Y, Model S, and Model X, saw uniform increases of $44,000. These price adjustments coincide with the expiration of Canada's federal incentives for zero-emission vehicles, which previously provided a $5,000 rebate for EV purchases. The discontinuation of these incentives, coupled with Tesla's price hikes, has severely impacted the affordability of its vehicles. Additionally, higher prices have rendered some Tesla models ineligible for provincial rebates, further straining Canadian consumers. As a result, Tesla's sales in Canada plummeted by 70% in January 2025 compared to the previous month. This decline is part of a broader trend affecting the entire EV market, with sales of electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles dropping by 79% over the same period. Other automakers, including Chevrolet and Hyundai, also reported significant declines, underscoring the widespread impact of shifting government policies and economic uncertainty. Industry experts attribute this downturn to a combination of reduced incentives, rising prices, and changing consumer behavior. According to James Hearn, Associate Director of Market Reporting, Canadian buyers are highly price-sensitive, and these recent changes have discouraged EV adoption. The loss of financial incentives has made electric vehicles less accessible, slowing the momentum of the industry's growth in Canada. Despite the short-term decline, long-term trends suggest continued interest in EVs. Year-over-year data from S&P Global indicates a 30% increase in EV sales between January 2024 and January 2025. Some automakers, including Polestar and General Motors, have introduced their own incentive programs to counteract the effects of the federal rebate cuts and maintain consumer interest in electric mobility. The intensifying trade tensions between Canada and the U.S. have prompted further political responses. Former Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who has positioned herself as a candidate for Prime Minister, suggested implementing a 100% tariff on Tesla imports from the U.S. She emphasized that Canada would target key American industries to pressure the White House into reconsidering its trade policies. Freeland's remarks have sparked debate among Canadians, with some viewing the move as necessary retaliation, while others question the fairness of singling out Tesla. Critics argue that Tesla should not be the sole target of retaliatory measures, while supporters believe that Musk's association with Trump's policies justifies the response. As the situation unfolds, it remains to be seen how trade relations between the two countries will evolve and whether these policies will reshape the future of the EV market in North America. The challenges associated with using targeted tariffs as a tool for resolving international trade disputes highlight the complexities of such measures. In a recent development, Canada has rolled back or completely removed the 100% tariff it had previously imposed on all electric vehicles manufactured in China, a policy that took effect in October 2024. This shift opens the market to Chinese automakers, fostering competition that may lead to more affordable electric vehicle options for consumers. Additionally, the decision could create pressure on American automakers to lobby for the removal of tariffs that hinder free trade, which in turn might benefit the broader North American automotive industry. The ongoing trade disputes and proposed countermeasures carry significant consequences for the emerging electric vehicle market in Canada, influencing the transition towards sustainable transportation. Lower tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles could accelerate the adoption of zero-emission cars by offering consumers a wider selection of budget-friendly options. However, this shift must also account for potential effects on the domestic industry and how it aligns with Canada's environmental and economic goals. With escalating trade tensions and proposed tariffs that could impact pricing and competitiveness, speculation has emerged about the possibility of Tesla establishing manufacturing operations in Canada. This could serve as a strategic move to counteract the effects of import duties while taking advantage of local incentives designed to encourage domestic production. Tesla has already expanded its presence in Canada through acquisitions and facility developments. In 2019, it acquired Highbar Systems, a Richmond Hill-based company specializing in high-speed battery manufacturing systems. This acquisition led to the formation of Tesla Toronto Automation, focusing on developing battery production equipment. By 2021, Tesla had further expanded with a facility in Markham, Ontario, dedicated to building advanced equipment for its global gigafactories. As part of its strategy to strengthen its electric vehicle supply chain, Tesla has submitted applications to the Ontario government expressing interest in establishing an industrial site dedicated to mineral extraction and processing. This move underscores Tesla's intention to secure essential raw materials for EV batteries, with Ontario playing a key role due to its abundant nickel and cobalt reserves. These minerals are crucial for manufacturing lithium-ion batteries used in Tesla's electric vehicles. Establishing mineral extraction and processing facilities within Ontario would enable Tesla to gain greater control over its battery supply chain, potentially lowering costs and reducing reliance on external suppliers. Tesla's timing coincides with broader developments in Ontario's automotive industry. Volkswagen recently announced plans to invest $7 billion in a new facility in St. Thomas, Ontario, as part of its global expansion of battery gigafactories, a project made possible through $13 billion in subsidies from provincial and federal governments. This trend reflects a broader movement in the industry, where major automakers seek to enhance production capabilities in strategic locations. Tesla's proactive approach includes recruiting key personnel to navigate regulatory processes. The hiring of a former battery mineral advisor to the Ontario government as Tesla's critical minerals and supply chain policy advisor demonstrates its commitment to fostering strong relationships with policymakers and ensuring regulatory compliance. By pursuing mineral extraction and processing initiatives in Ontario, Tesla aims to secure a steady supply of key battery materials while reinforcing its competitive advantage in the electric vehicle market. This effort also contributes to Ontario's economy and enhances the province's reputation as a hub for innovation and sustainable technology. The recent decision by the United States to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian imports, excluding a 10% tariff on energy products, has put a strain on the historically strong economic ties between the two nations. In response, Canada swiftly announced a 25% tariff on $30 billion worth of American goods, with plans to expand these measures to an additional $125 billion in the coming weeks. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemned the U.S. tariffs, dismissing them as unjustified, and particularly rejecting claims that Canada has not done enough to combat fentanyl trafficking into the United States. These escalating trade tensions have raised concerns about economic slowdowns and potential increases in consumer prices throughout North America. Given the highly integrated nature of the U.S., Canadian, and Mexican economies, such tariffs could disrupt supply chains and drive up costs for both manufacturers and consumers. Industries spanning from automotive to agriculture are bracing for the consequences, with stakeholders urging diplomatic efforts to resolve the dispute and avoid prolonged economic fallout. Public sentiment in Canada has been strongly influenced by these developments, leading to calls for a nationwide boycott of American products, and travel to the U.S. reports indicate a growing consumer preference for domestically produced goods, with retailers labeling products to emphasize their Canadian origins. Additionally, travel agencies have noted an uptick in cancellations for U.S. destinations, as Canadian travelers opt for alternative vacation spots. This grassroots movement reflects a broader desire for economic independence and resilience in the face of external pressures. Trudeau has accused the U.S. administration of attempting to undermine Canada's economy to facilitate political gains, an allegation that has further inflamed tensions. Meanwhile, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has suggested that there may be room for negotiation, hinting that the administration could meet Canada and Mexico halfway on the issue. Businesses are also adjusting to the shifting trade landscape. Some companies are exploring ways to circumvent tariffs, with manufacturers considering relocating production to Europe to avoid retaliatory measures. The effects of these trade conflicts have already rippled through financial markets, with increased volatility as industries brace for potential disruptions. As trade tensions mount, a new point of contention has emerged concerning government incentives that could sway consumer preferences between locally produced and imported electric vehicles. The adoption of electric vehicles is heavily influenced by financial incentives such as tax rebates and subsidies, which help offset the higher upfront costs of EVs and make them more accessible to consumers. The U.S. government, for example, has provided $2 billion in EV tax rebates since the beginning of 2024, covering over 300,000 vehicles and demonstrating the significant role these incentives play in driving consumer adoption. However, inconsistencies in these incentives have resulted in fluctuating EV sales in some regions. Additionally, the entry of lower-cost foreign EVs, particularly from China, has intensified competition, challenging domestic automakers. Beyond affordability, consumers consider factors such as reliability, technological advancements, and brand reputation when purchasing an electric vehicle. In regions where domestic EVs benefit from financial incentives, consumers may be more inclined to support local manufacturers. Conversely, in areas where incentives are reduced or removed, foreign brands with competitive pricing and advanced features may gain traction. For example, Polestar recently launched a discount program targeting Tesla owners in the U.S., aiming to attract consumers shifting away from government-dependent incentives. This highlights the dynamic nature of the EV market, where adaptive policies are crucial in balancing economic, environmental, and trade considerations. The ongoing trade tensions between the United States and Canada have introduced uncertainty for consumers, particularly in the electric vehicle market. The U.S. decision to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian imports has led Canada to respond with similar measures, including a proposed 100% tariff on certain American goods, such as Tesla vehicles. These policies raise concerns about rising vehicle prices, potential supply chain disruptions, and the accessibility of electric vehicles for Canadian consumers. For buyers, the impact of tariffs could be substantial. A 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles would effectively double their price in Canada, making them significantly less affordable. As a result, consumers may turn to alternative electric vehicle options, potentially favoring domestically manufactured models that are not subject to additional costs. The uncertainty surrounding these trade policies has fueled concerns over the availability and variety of electric vehicles in Canada. If automakers face increased costs due to tariffs, they may reconsider their market strategies, possibly leading to fewer EV models being offered to Canadian consumers. Such a development could slow the country's transition to electric mobility, undermining environmental and sustainability goals. Given these challenges, ongoing negotiations between the U.S. and Canadian governments remain critical in determining the future of the automotive and electric vehicle industries in North America. Trade disputes between the United States and Canada have created significant economic uncertainty, particularly in the electric vehicle market. A resolution that takes into account the concerns of both nations could help stabilize the industry, ensuring that consumers continue to have access to a variety of affordable EV options. Keeping informed about these developments is essential for consumers, as these changes directly affect pricing and availability. Engaging with policymakers and voicing opinions could also contribute to outcomes that align with both economic and environmental priorities. A recent petition in Canada has gained widespread attention, with over 200,000 citizens calling for the revocation of Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship. This initiative, led by a British Columbia-based author and supported by a member of Parliament from the New Democratic Party, claims that Musk's close association with U.S. President Donald Trump presents a risk to Canada's national interests. The petition highlights Musk's government role in the U.S. and accuses him of supporting policies that could undermine Canada's sovereignty. Musk, originally from South Africa, became a Canadian citizen in 1989 through his mother, who was born in Saskatchewan. Later, he obtained U.S. citizenship and is now known for leading Tesla, SpaceX, and other ventures. Legal experts believe that since Musk obtained citizenship through legitimate means, the chances of revoking it are extremely low. However, the petition reflects growing concerns among Canadians about foreign influence in national affairs. The petition remains open for signatures until June 20th, 2025, after which it will be presented to the Canadian Parliament. While it is unlikely that Musk's citizenship will be revoked, the movement serves as a symbolic effort to raise awareness about national sovereignty and the role of influential figures in shaping policies. It remains to be seen how both Musk and the Canadian government will respond to the public's concerns. The recently imposed U.S. tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China have had far-reaching consequences, particularly for global supply chains in the automotive and technology industries. These tariffs, including a 25% duty on Canadian and Mexican goods and a 10% tariff on Chinese products, were introduced to address economic and security concerns, but have instead created significant disruptions. Automakers such as Tesla, General Motors, and Toyota rely on cross-border supply chains for their manufacturing processes. The added costs from tariffs threaten to increase production expenses, disrupt operations, and lead to higher vehicle prices for consumers. Experts warn that these measures could impact industry profitability and even result in job losses. The technology sector faces similar challenges, as companies depend on international suppliers for raw materials and components. The increased costs and operational difficulties caused by tariffs may prompt businesses to reconsider their supply chain strategies, potentially leading to shifts in production locations or efforts to bring manufacturing back domestically. While such adjustments could cause short-term disruptions, they might also encourage investment in local industries over time. The broader economic implications of these tariffs include inflationary pressures and shifts in global trade relationships. Countries affected by these measures may introduce retaliatory tariffs, further complicating trade dynamics. Analysts have warned that continued trade tensions could push the U.S. into a recession by the latter half of 2025, as disruptions in supply chains reduce business investment and consumer confidence. Retaliatory actions from other nations could slow economic growth and development, leading to widespread uncertainty. The Canadian government and provincial leaders have responded with countermeasures to protect their economic interests. Ontario's premier threatened to restrict energy exports to the U.S., while Quebec's leadership advocated for higher export taxes on American goods and encouraged reducing reliance on U.S. products. These efforts reflect a unified stance among Canadian provinces to shield their economies from the effects of American tariffs. In addition to government actions, Canadian citizens have taken independent steps to counteract the impact of tariffs. Consumer preferences have shifted toward domestically produced goods, with businesses emphasizing Canadian-made products to attract buyers. A growing number of Canadians are also choosing to avoid travel to the U.S., instead opting for vacations elsewhere. This grassroots movement showcases a strong desire for economic independence and resilience against external pressures. Trade experts have emphasized the importance of maintaining stable economic ties between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. A coalition focused on North American trade has warned that the tariffs undermine existing trade agreements and create unnecessary friction between economic partners. Advocates argue that instead of targeting Canada, the U.S. should reconsider its tariff strategy and focus on policies that genuinely support job growth and economic stability. In response to these trade challenges, Canadian businesses have taken steps to mitigate risks. Many companies have rebranded their products as locally made to encourage domestic purchases. Travel agencies have reported a decline in bookings to the U.S. as Canadian travelers prefer alternative destinations. These shifts in behavior demonstrate the broader impact of trade policies on daily consumer decisions. As trade tensions continue to evolve, both nations must carefully navigate their economic strategies. Diplomatic efforts and negotiations remain crucial in preventing long-term disruptions. Ensuring a balanced trade relationship will be vital to maintaining economic stability and fostering a competitive market that benefits businesses and consumers alike.